More U.S. firms are more negative about doing business in China. A new study by the American Chamber of Commerce in China. I guess this isn't really much of a surprise, is it, Steve?
Well, I mean, it is evidence when the AmCham in China says U.S. companies are more negative than they've been in a long time about doing business in China. It shows that the increasing tensions between the U.S. and China have made business very challenging there. It's Ukraine, it's COVID, it's Taiwan, it's TikTok, it's semiconductors, it's all of that, and that's resulted in the U.S. having U.S. businesses who are surveyed where China is no longer regarded as a top 3 investment priority by a majority of U.S. companies doing business in China. So it is significantly different today than it was certainly pre-COVID.
And taking that into account, plus the recent news with TikTok, plus Glenn's point about the stereotypical close relationship between China and Singapore, does that have any impact on businesses setting up in Singapore, possibly being headquartered in Singapore? You know, the fear of being associated with China, rightly or wrongly, or will it have no difference?
Well, no, I mean, it's having a huge difference. First, it's having a huge difference for, as American companies say this, Chinese companies say this. So you see Chinese companies being headquartered in Singapore now. Obviously, TikTok and Shine being 2 prominent examples of that. You certainly see U.S. companies diversifying out of China with their supply chains and otherwise. You see headquarters coming out of Hong Kong and moving to Singapore. But you have to keep that in the context that China remains an incredibly important market for U.S. companies, U.S. businesses, and U.S. investors. And so you're not seeing, you know, just people leaving, you know, lock, stock, and barrel out of China, but you're seeing a diversification out of China. But boy, it is just so much harder to do business in China today than it was years past. And that's what the AmCham survey finds.
Yeah, and there will apparently be some additional regulations brought in by the U.S. government later this year, sometime this year, to further make some of those transfers of technology or products or goods and services, you know, another level of the CFIUS response there from the U.S. side. So we'll keep our eyes on that